The round robin portion of the Memorial Cup is now in the books as the London Knights getting a late win over the Saginaw Spirit last night. Easton Cowan playing the hero with, I think it was about a minute and a half left in the game. And the London Knights, they will play for the Memorial Cup Championship on Sunday. And with the Saginaw Spirit defeat, that means they have to play in the semifinal on Friday against the Moose Jaw Warriors. So the Memorial Cup, it's been a lot of fun to follow. It's always the drama that you get throughout. There's the different rivalries, so like Saginaw, London. We were kind of curious as to how that series or that matchup would play out, and boy, oh boy, did we get a fun result in that one. Of course, Sawyer Bolton did not play last night due to his suspension, but he will be back in the lineup on Sunday, depending on who London plays. If we get a rematch between the London Knights and the Saginaw Spirit, we are in for a classic of a Memorial Cup final, I believe. But still, if Moose Jaw can get the win and appear at the Memorial Cup final, it'd be a great Cinderella run because, of course, the Moose Jaw Warriors playing in their very first Memorial Cup after winning their first WHL title in 40 years. It'd be quite the story if they could win the Memorial Cup, and it would end the WHL's drought as the last time a team from the West won the Memorial Cup was 2014. That was the Edmonton Oil Kings who did that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I might be doing a live stream on Sunday ahead of the game. It all depends on my schedule over the weekend. But still, a lot of excitement as that game will get underway at the Dow Event Center at 7:30 p.m. And a few people have pointed out the empty seats at the Dow. And it does seem a little strange at the Memorial Cup seeing empty seating. However, I think with this being the first Memorial Cup in Michigan and outside of Canada since 1998, I think the attendance has been very good. And Saginaw doing a great job hosting this Memorial Cup tournament. And you also have to figure some of those empty seats that we're seeing, those are corporate seats that have already been sold. So obviously those seats have been unfulfilled with whoever is supposed to be there in attendance with the businesses. But I was looking at the tickets ahead of the Friday night game, the semifinal at the Dow Event Center. Most of those seats that are available are resale, and it's only a handful. It looks like it's going to be a sellout, standing room only for the semifinal. Of course, when you've got the host team in that game, that amplifies the demand for tickets. And with the London Knights making it to the Memorial Cup final, I looked at Sunday's game. There's only a few resale tickets available right now, and the price of those tickets, they are going up quite a bit. So London Knight fans, they always travel really well wherever the London Knights may be. And when they're in a national championship such as this, there's going to be a lot of green in the stands at the Dow Event Center, depending on who they play against. But it's going to be a hot ticket in Saginaw on Sunday. And already those resale tickets, not many posted right now, but we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be Saginaw or Moose Jaw joining the London Knights in that Memorial Cup final. Either way, it's going to be a great finish to this 2024 Memorial Cup. I wanted to get into a bit of a news item. It was posted this week that the Kingston Frontenacs still in contact with Caleb Malhotra. And Caleb Malhotra, he was drafted 8th overall at the OHL priority selection. And with Malhotra, there was a lot of questions whether or not he would report to the Ontario Hockey League. He already said before the draft that he was exploring all of his options, and that included the BCHL. On draft day, it was revealed that he actually signed a commitment with the Chilliwack Chiefs. So for the Kingston Frontenacs, they're saying that they are in contact with Malhotra's camp to see if there's a way they can entice him to play for Kingston next season or to commit to the OHL. But it seems like they do have a lot of work cut out for them. It was announced earlier this week, too, that Caleb Malhotra's father, Manny Malhotra, the former NHLer, he actually got hired as an assistant coach with the Abbotsford Canucks. And with Malhotra going to the Canucks, that's a 30-minute difference between Abbotsford and Chilliwack. So with that hiring for the Canucks and with Caleb Malhotra signing with the Chilliwack Chiefs, I think all signs are pointing that he will not be playing with the Kingston Frontenacs next season. But anything is possible. We did find out that Colin Fitzgerald would be joining the Peterborough Petes after he signed a commitment with the Green Bay Gamblers. of the USHL. Fumbling away. It's a beautiful sunny day. I'm going to probably be heading out to work in my garden after this video, but still, Fitzgerald, he committed to the Gamblers, but then in the end signed a commitment with the Peterborough Petes. So I guess if you look at it in that way, anything is possible. Caleb Malhotra could still sign, but if he fails to report, then Kingston, they would get the 9th overall pick as compensation for the next 2025 OHL priority selection. So I'm sure for Kingston Frontenacs fans, it's a tough spot to be in because you want Malhotra to play. He's a very talented forward who played with the Vaughan Kings last season. You want to see him on the lineup, but the OHL did set up these rules that if a player does not report or you do trade that player to another team, then you would get a compensation pick, and it would be the pick after where he was selected. So Malhotra picked 8th overall in 2024, which would mean a 9th overall pick in 2025. So we'll see how that situation all plays out as the Frontenacs took a chance, and they said they wanted to pick the best player available, and they feel that was Caleb Malhotra at 8th overall. So we'll continue to follow that situation. If there's any other developments, I'll put it in a news video throughout the summer and the offseason. We also have the trade window coming up. It's a 3-week-long June trade window, and maybe Malhotra's rights get traded to another team. Maybe there's a team that he would rather report to. We've seen that in the past. The most recent player was Sam Dickinson. He was traded from the Niagara Ice Dogs to the London Knights. And, of course, Niagara was given a compensation pick in the first round as a result of that. So we'll keep an eye on Malhotra. Does he come to the OHL? Does he get traded? Time will tell. But I wanted to also take a look at other players who have not yet signed their OHL agreements as of yet after being selected in the first round. And the one that stands out at the top, 7th overall pick, Pierce Mabui. He played for the Toronto Marlboros last season and ended up being picked by the Owen Sound Attack. He actually led the OHL Cup in scoring, had a fantastic tournament. I believe he was in Owen Sound over the weekend. They had their annual barbecue and awards banquet, and Mabui and the other drafted Owen Sound Attack players were in attendance. They're also looking for a coach still, so they're one of the OHL teams right now with a head coach vacancy, so maybe the priority is on that. Sometimes we don't hear signings until closer to training camp, so the Owen Sound Attack, that might be where we find out if Mabui is going to be playing with Owen Sound next season. I believe he'll be going there. We haven't heard any other rumblings as to agreements with other teams, especially like the USHL, but we'll keep a watch on this. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of surprised it wasn't announced that he was signed over the weekend. I figured that was the time we would get that, but still, Pierce Mabui, we're still waiting for that signing. Other players to watch, Tyler Challenger. He was selected 10th overall by the Erie Otters. No updates on that front. And Adam Valentini, he went 13th overall to the Brampton Steelheads. Valentini was thought earlier in the year to maybe be a potential first overall selection, but he was leaning towards the USHL. He has signed a commitment with the Chicago Steel. That doesn't mean he's for sure going to play for Chicago. There's still that chance that he joins the Steelheads for next season, but that's another situation that we'll want to keep an eye on. The Steelheads, of course, one of the early favorites for the 2024-25 OHL regular season. And if they can get a player like Valentini to join that group, that will help with their depth. And that'll be another exciting player to watch with this Steelheads team going forward. So those are the players who have not yet signed outside of Caleb Malhotra. Still plenty of time for these players to sign agreements with their OHL teams between now and the start of training camp. But I'm sure for these fan bases, maybe a little nervous with these players not being signed as of yet. But that's how I see it from the booth. Just a quick little video just to update on the Memorial Cup and just a little news item there that came out of Kingston today. So let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on the Memorial Cup. Do the London Knights win the 2024 championship, or do you think Saginaw or Moose Jaw could be the teams to upset the London Knights, who have had a perfect run at the Memorial Cup so far? Thank you very much for tuning in, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We'll talk to you again soon.